we talked earlier about non-delegable duties. And one of the non-delegable duties is raising your kids and getting them ready to get out into the world and deal with the world without your help. Because you're not going to be here forever. And if everything happens the way it's supposed to happen, you're going to die before they do. In fact, there's that old story about the king who brings the soothsayer in and he says, tell me something good. And he says, you die, your son dies, your grandson dies. And so the king says, wait a minute, that's not good. He says, oh, yes. He says, would you want it any other way? And, of course, the king realizes that that is the way that you want it. You want to die, and then your son dies, and then your grandson dies. And so you know you're going to be gone at some point if everything works the way it's supposed to, and your children are going to need to be able to make the decisions that they need to make to have a happy life and to be secure and to have all the things that go together with whatever that means to them, which is what we were talking about a little while ago.
Right.
But anyway, so... the key then is to teach your children to make good decisions. And you can't force them to learn that. And so that caused me to say, okay, well, if I can't force him to learn that, how can I get him to want to learn how to make good decisions? And it occurred to me that what I would do is, he came to me one day and he said, Johnny's mother is letting him do something that you won't let me do. And I think, he's 12 and I'm 12 and or whatever it is, 10, whatever number age it was that he came to me. I think he was around 12. And I said, look, making decisions in your life is a pain in the ass. It's making a lot more work for me. I got to look at everything you're doing. I got to think about what's going on. I got to think about what your capabilities are. I got to think about all the things that go together to making a good decision and make the decision for you. I don't want to have to do that. The best thing that could happen to me is that you would make decisions for yourself, and I could just live my life and just kind of keep an eye on you, and not have to do that. He says, "Okay, well that's great. I'll be glad to make all the." No. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. You're not going to get control of your life until you convince me that you know how to make good decisions. When you convince me you know how to make good decisions, I'm going to let you do whatever you want. So he heard me, but he didn't react right away. He went off and he was thinking for a while, And I'm thinking to myself, I wonder if I hit a home run, I wonder if I got him where I want him,
Yeah.
And I did. He came back and he said, Dad, he says, how do I make good decisions? Basically what he was saying to me was, in his own way, is how do I make decisions that you think are good? Because that's what I've got to do. I've got to convince you that these are good decisions so that you will let me have control of my life. That's what was going on in his head. So I got it exactly where I wanted it. He wanted to learn how to make good decisions, and he came and asked me how to do it. That's where you have to get your children. Your children have to get to the point where they are mentally ready to learn. And mentally ready to learn really means I want to learn. And so that's what happened. He came to me and he said, I want to learn.
Yeah.
I don't want a resistance. I want openness. And so he's got a carrot there that he knows how to get. He can get this carrot. This carrot is within reach. He can do this. What he has to do is he has to learn the tool. And he wants to learn the tool. He wants to be free. He wants to have control of his life.
Right.
If you want to have freedom from my dictatorial position over you, then I've given you a way out, and you decided to choose it. You decided to accept it. You decided that that's what you want to do. Okay, great. So then we start through and we talk about things like risk-benefit ratio. Okay, I don't use those words with a 12-year-old, but the idea is that what are you going to get out of this? You're going to spend all of your allowance and you're not going to have any money for candy bars. Is that okay? Is it that's going to be is it going to be good enough? Is this thing going to be good enough that you're willing to give up your entire allowance? Are you willing to give up 2 months worth of allowance?
Right. You made him think.
Yeah. is this something that's so dangerous that you might lose an eye? Because if it is, I don't care how much fun it is, it's not worth it, right? So you have to say, okay, what is the worst thing that can happen? And then you say to yourself, okay, if I can accept the worst thing that can happen, if that happens, if the worst thing happens, even if it's unlikely, if I can accept that worst thing, then this is still an open thing I might be willing to do. Okay? If the answer is I cannot accept the worst thing, it's finished. That's it. You can't do that. As simple as that. And it created a hierarchy for him to look at about how making decisions. And then, of course, sometimes making a decision to do something is also making a decision not to do something else. And so then you have to say to yourself, okay, this thing is going to bring me, say, a 90 on the fun scale, but I have to give up something on the 70 scale. So the difference is only 20. And if the difference is 20 and now I've created a risk that I didn't have before, then maybe that difference, that 20 difference, isn't enough to take that risk. Even though, you see,
trade-offs, sacrifices. Yeah, because this is inevitable. This is what life is. Life is a negotiation.
And so little by little, we went through the different parts of making a good decision. And then what I said to him was this. When I finally started really making good decisions, I said to him, this is what we're going to do. When you want to do something, I want you to come and present it to me, and I'm going to ask you to take me through your thought process and explain to me why you have decided that this is a good decision. And if I agree with your thought process, I'm just going to say, go, do it. And if I don't agree with your thought process, I'm going to ask you some questions, and you're going to have an opportunity to defend your thought process to me. And if you do that successfully, I'm going to let you do it. And if you can't do it successfully, then I'm going to tell you, no, you aren't there yet. You don't know how to make good decisions well enough, because look at this thing over here that you ignored. That was a problem that you didn't put into your equation. You didn't mention it when you explained it to me, and it's a problem, and you didn't deal with it, and you're not there yet. And so little by little, he got to that. And then when he got to the point where it seemed to me that most or all of his decisions were well done or good enough, because one of the things that you have to do as a parent is you have to allow your children to make mistakes, because mistakes are very educating. And so at some points, I said to him, I don't agree with that decision, but if you want to do it, do it. And then I just let him do it. And then when things didn't work out very well, I'll let life teach him. Because life is a great teacher too. As long as he wasn't going to lose an eye and he wasn't going to get crippled and let him make a mistake, let him make some mistakes. That's part of letting children, but you have to decide which ones you're going to do.